When Cyberpunk 2077 players talk about their preferred playstyles, they might talk about net running, or a blades build, or street brawling, or even old fashioned handguns and shotguns. Of course, stealth comes up. Stealth net running, silenced pistols, throwing knives, sniper rifles, or even the classic stealth takedown. But I'm here to talk about what I can only call full stealth. Not just avoiding detection, but avoiding even stealth combat. Yes, the occasional hacking or stealth takedown is necessary, as there are numerous segments where the possibility of full stealth is not allowed, but I'll try to take you along on my experience of this playstyle. I assure you, I am not trying to impress anyone or make you think I'm cool by telling you that this video mostly consists of highlights from the 23rd time I have done a complete playthrough of Cyberpunk 2077. To kick things off, I decided to customize V by just pressing the randomize button 23 times. Look at this charming fellow. As handsome as he is stealthy. 22 complete playthroughs of Cyberpunk didn't necessarily give me any special insight, but it has given me enough experience to know what the missions are going to ask of me so I can go in prepared. Complete playthrough, by the way, not meaning 100% completion, but starting with a new V and playing until end credits. Not in one sitting or anything, these aren't speed runs either. Sometimes complete means adhering to a challenge. In this case, completing 100% of the gigs from the fixers of Night City as stealthily as possible, and doing no NCPD hustles or otherwise engaging in open combat. Also playing on very hard difficulty. While I'll try to go into a few of the other things I did, this is neither a walkthrough nor a build guide, and I'll be trying to keep it brisk while assuming at least a bit of familiarity with Cyberpunk 2077. This story starts, fittingly, since I chose a nomad life path for this playthrough, with Badlands fixer Dakota Smith. Us Cyberpunk players who at least dabble in stealth when called for probably know the frustration of completing the Goodbye Night City gig by the book, as called for by Dakota by any rational interpretation, yet still ending up being chided by her for the unnecessary bloodshed, even when it was just a guard or two gently put to sleep by a chokehold or a non lethal quick hack. At times, I have assumed the failure of stealth and just gone full scorched earth on the Militech bastards, but it has, over time, given way to a mindset of, you want stealth, Dakota? I'll show you stealth. But that also brings us to one of the catches about the full stealth playstyle that I have taken as a given, but will gladly be corrected on if someone knows better than I do. No stealth, no matter how rigorous, survives getting behind the wheel of a car and driving away with it, often through a group of enemies. But aside from the getaway being decidedly unstealthy, having gone through what seemed like unnecessary lengths to satisfy the conditions of one gig got me wondering, can I get through all of the gigs, not only undetected, but without even incapacitating an enemy? The answer is mostly yes. From the start, there's the big caveat that you cannot complete the tutorial gig in full stealth, and also the obvious exception that any gig that calls for the assassination or incapacitating of a particular target requires a compromise of the full stealth playstyle. Also, the handful of quests where someone is being held captive mostly require at least one enemy to be incapacitated. Again, that's as far as I can tell. I'd be happy to be corrected and told that gigs such as We Have Your Wife, Cuckoo's Nest, Bloodsport, or No Fixers can be completed in full stealth. But otherwise, I found the full stealth approach was both engaging to play and viable in more situations than I was expecting. But As far as in game incentives, it is, unfortunately, the least rewarding playstyle. Not engaging enemies is leaving a lot of experience points sitting on the table, and there is no mechanism by which the player is rewarded for maintaining full stealth. It's not my point to fully calculate the XP loss, but I can tell you that V23 here for the featured playthrough only reached skill level 7 in ninjutsu, largely, I suspect, because I did some cyber psycho gigs to make sure I was at a comfortable level for the endgame. Whereas a previous playthrough, V21 here, reached level 15 in ninjutsu despite not being nearly as singularly focused on maintaining stealth. Full stealth makes you miss out on levels that make it more difficult for the enemies to detect you. Yet, I suspect it can still be done under even stricter conditions than I was working within. To get to what I consider some of the highlights of a full stealth playthrough, if somebody had previously told me that they took the stealth approach to getting out of Kenpeki Plaza, I would have assumed stealth net running or stealth takedowns. But you can get out of Kenpeki Plaza with only one enemy needing to be incapacitated to get the keycard for the elevators. Everyone else remains completely unaware. Well, until you get into the parking garage for the scripted segment. The one time when the full stealth approach felt a bit dishonest, and I expected it to fail outright, was the gig The Heisenberg Principle. But I can confirm for you that it is possible to blow up the drug lab and leave without incapacitating anyone or being detected. I can't explain that one as anything other than a quirk of the enemy AI, but it does work and is repeatable, so it wasn't a one off fluke. The most fun I had in Full Stealth was probably the gig Flying Drugs. It has a few fairly clear stealth options, but it can have a similar weird enemy AI behavior to Heisenberg Principle that, if you lack the tech skill to turn off the transmitter at the top of the tower, you can still blow it up, at least with a silence weapon, and draw no attention. Getting through Trevor's Last Ride, or Getting Warmer, or even Sweet Dreams without drawing enemy attention kind of solidified Full Stealth as my current preferred playstyle. It was maybe a bit of a fib earlier when I said Goodbye Night City was the catalyst for this approach. A handful of gigs share that claim. One of them is the story mission Life During Wartime. Quite a while back, I began wondering what happens if you reach Anders Hellman without any enemies detecting you. The answer is the game pretty much just forgets that King Tao agents were swarming the gas station mere moments before you went to the loft and retrieved Hellman. Disaster Piece is one I had never even bothered to question. I assumed if you're venturing into a Scav hideout's murder basement, you probably have to do some taking out of the trash to get through it. But no, avoid detection and it's all fine. Anyway, no playthrough can avoid the fight with Oda. I don't like this boss fight. I don't generally like any boss fights. And playing in a way that means I'm not maintaining level appropriate weapons and armor or taking combat perks and earning their related skill progression levels makes the fight extra obnoxious. I'll admit to lowering the difficulty level to get through this one, but only here and not for the fight with Adam Smasher, who doesn't run away and hide and heal up like the coward Oda does. Though Smasher did glitch and got stuck in a wall toward the end of his fight. I had things pretty well taken care of by that point anyway. As this was a run that prioritized stealth, not necessarily being a pacifist, Oda did not make it far enough to see V go on to help Hanako, which seemed to me to be the most stealth amenable ending path, both in what is done in the final mission and what is required to get to the final mission. Part of why this is neither a strategy nor a build video is that I'm sure I'm not doing things optimally. I didn't want to be too reliant on, for instance, the Reboot Optics quick hack or the Optics Jammer Demon that you get with the legendary rarity version of that quick hack, which may well be the solution to keeping enemies from detecting you when you steal their vehicles, come to think of it. I'll have to try that out in a future playthrough. But the bit of technical advice I will emphasize that will be helpful regardless of all other build and cyberware loadout concerns is the importance of double jump. It's too useful a tool for getting into and out of areas to not give it a mention. Seriously, don't bother with Link's paws, even though they're ostensibly about stealth. Also, make sure you have at least 12 points in cool so you can take the ghost perk along with Crouching Tiger. Those, combined with the double jump, are far more versatile and effective for most stealth circumstances. And that's it. That's the story of how full stealth changed the way I look at a game I had already put 1,500 hours into. I don't usually get too hung up on difficulty, but other than the 2 mandatory fights, I find the full stealth approach to actually be an easy playstyle. Why bother with all this fighting when you can just keep a low profile and play the objective? And that's it for this video. This is the outro to this video, which I'm doing just to make sure I have something to put. I'll probably cut most of this out. Thank you for, this has been the video about, anyone have a better name than Full Stealth? I don't know, that's just what worked for me, but I don't know. Maybe there's something better to call it. Thank you for watching.